He owned everything money could buy, except peace of mind. While the world slept, his mansion stayed wide awake. 47 surveillance cameras, 14 private guards, bulletproof glass, walls so thick you couldn't hear a prayer, if anyone still believed in such things. But none of that was enough, because something felt off. Something moved in the dark that money couldn't track. Not a thief, not a spy, not a scandalous lover. No, what haunted him was worse. It was invisible. And so, when the new maid arrived, quiet, average, oddly forgettable, he did what any paranoid billionaire with too many secrets would do. He watched her, every single night, not once, not by accident. It became an obsession. She didn't steal, she didn't snoop, she barely spoke. But what she did when she thought no one was watching, he wasn't ready for it. At first, it looked innocent. A woman alone in a hallway, pausing in front of the family vault. But she wasn't looking at the lock. She was kneeling. She was whispering his name. And then, without touching a single coin, she'd walk away. Every night, same time, same hallway, same look on her face. He laughed it off, at first, chalked it up to superstition. Until he started hearing things. Through the cameras, through the walls, through his own guilt. This wasn't surveillance anymore. This was something else, something older, something that made even a billionaire feel exposed. And one night, curiosity turned into fear, because the cameras didn't just show her, they showed someone standing behind her, someone who vanished the moment he blinked. She visited the vault every night and never took a single thing. The first time he saw her in front of the vault, he thought it was coincidence. The second time, he called it habit. The third, he began to question everything. Why would a maid, someone earning pennies compared to the value locked behind that titanium door, return to the same spot every single night, only to kneel? No gloves, no tools, no attempt to guess the code, just silence. She would place both hands on the steel, rest her forehead gently against it, and whisper things too soft for the mics to catch. At 3:03 a.m., sharp, every night, he rewound the tapes, dozens of times, looking for evidence of tampering, of deceit, of something that made sense. But there was none. No keys, no codes, no tricks, and yet it felt like the vault was opening, not physically, but spiritually. What disturbed him most wasn't her presence there. It was the peace in her eyes when she walked away. She didn't look guilty. She looked relieved, like she'd just left something behind. That's when the questions began to infect his sleep. Why the vault? Why the whispering? Why his name? And how did she know about his son? Because on the 12th night, she whispered that name too. A name no one had dared to say inside that house for 3 years. The name carved into a headstone in a private cemetery no employee ever visited. The name of a boy who died in an accident no press ever reported. The name that still haunted the billionaire more than any market crash or family betrayal. He froze, rewound the tape again, and heard it clearly. Set him free. Not just once, twice. With tears on her face, the vault wasn't just where he kept his fortune. It was where he buried the last memory of his son, his guilt, his secrets, his rage, and somehow she knew. Now he needed to know who she really was, because people like her don't just appear out of nowhere, they're sent. And sometimes, they're not even people. The day she disappeared, and the billionaire lost control. She didn't say goodbye. She didn't collect her things. She didn't even take the full payment. She just vanished. The billionaire who built empires from chaos, who once bought out a rival company over breakfast, stood in the middle of his hallway, barefoot, robe half open, staring at the front door as if it had just betrayed him. There were no signs of struggle, no resignation letter, no messages, just silence, and a missing presence that now screamed louder than the 47 cameras he had installed. He told himself it didn't matter. She was a maid, replaceable, forgettable. But then night fell, and for the first time in weeks, the vault hallway was empty. No whispering, no kneeling, No ghostly figure hovering in the background. Just a dead hallway, dead quiet, like the rest of the house. That's when he did something no one expected. He went down there himself. For the first time in 3 years, he stood in front of the vault, where she once prayed, where his son's memory still clung like perfume on cold steel. And he froze, because there, taped to the bottom corner of the security monitor, was a note, written in careful, graceful handwriting. I was never here for the money. I was here for the part of you that died with him. It wasn't signed. It didn't need to be. She knew about the accident. She knew about the night he collapsed on the bathroom floor. She knew about the pills, the drinks, the therapy he never finished. But how? He stormed back upstairs and called the cleaning agency, demanded answers. The line went quiet. Then came the words that made his blood run cold. There is no record of any woman assigned to your residence in the past 6 weeks. That wasn't just unusual, that was impossible. He hired her himself. He remembered her face, her eyes, the silence that wrapped around her like armor. But now, it was like she had never existed. No name, no contract, no footage of her arriving or leaving. Just those late-night recordings and the whispering, and now, the absence, a silence so loud it made him feel poor. Because for the first time in years, he missed someone who didn't want anything from him, someone who looked at his pain and didn't flinch, someone who saw through him and stayed until she didn't. The hidden footage. He was never supposed to see. He wasn't sleeping, not really, not since she vanished. The mansion, once a monument to control, now felt like a trap. Each hallway echoed louder, the gold seemed colder, the silence unbearable. So he did the only thing that gave him any sense of control. He returned to the surveillance room. He told his head of security to leave, locked the door behind him, and started searching through the footage. Not the official archives, the deep folder, the one that auto-recorded raw feeds no one ever reviewed. A secret back door only he and his tech advisor knew about. And in that archive, he found something that stopped his breath, a file untitled, time-stamped 3 days before she disappeared. He hit play. It began normally, the hallway, 3:03 a.m. She was there, kneeling, same as always. But this time the camera didn't glitch. It zoomed, and what it captured, he had no words for it. As she whispered in front of the vault, something appeared behind her. Not a shadow, not a person. A presence, tall, blurred, white. No footsteps, no sound, no facial features. Just a figure that stood behind her as if listening, and then, slowly, the figure reached toward her shoulder, just as she turned her head slightly as if acknowledging it. But she didn't flinch. She didn't look afraid. She looked peaceful. And in the next frame, the figure was gone, instant. No fade, no cut, just gone. He slammed the pause button, rewound it, played it again, frame by frame. The cameras had no history of glitches, no logical explanation. He checked the file's metadata, no signs of tampering. This was real. But if it was real, what did it mean? He ran to the hallway in the video, stood in the same spot, looked at the exact angle. There was no reflection, no curtain, nothing that could explain what he saw. And when he turned around to leave, something strange caught his eye, an envelope hidden in the corner, tucked behind the molding. Inside was a photo of his son. But not just any photo. It was him, kneeling in front of the vault, exactly where she had been, same posture, same timestamp on the back, but the photo was taken after the boy had died. He checked the date again. Impossible. The ink wasn't faded. The paper was warm to the touch, and the words scribbled underneath were unmistakable. He still waits to be forgiven. He dropped the photo, backed away from the wall, because now he knew whatever was happening here wasn't just about her. It was about him, And the parts of his life he buried so deeply, only someone from the other side could dig them up. Her secret. Why a maid prayed for a billionaire. He didn't believe in fate, didn't believe in angels or signs or souls that linger after death. But now he wasn't so sure. For days, he obsessed over the footage, over the photo, over the note she left. Nothing made sense, and everything hurt. He tried to rationalize it, but even his mind, trained in contracts and currency, couldn't balance this equation. So he turned to the only thing left, her records. He demanded them, hunted them, paid whatever it took. And finally, someone cracked. An intern at the agency forwarded a classified file marked in red, "Do not assign, name unknown, alias Mira, background confidential, warning rejected for emotional irregularities. Note, tends to form personal attachments." When praying in client homes, he stared at the file, and the shame hit him harder than any stock market collapse. He labeled her forgettable, replaceable, but she was the only person who had ever seen him, truly seen him. And then came the final twist. Another message, delivered to his private gate by a courier with no return address. Inside, a letter. "You lost a son. I lost mine in the same fire. The difference is, I forgave. And when I saw your eyes, I knew you hadn't. So I came, not for money, not for justice, but to clean more than your flaws, to clean what the world couldn't see, your grief, your guilt, your rage." No signature, just the same handwriting, and one last line. "Your son is waiting. Let him go." He fell to his knees, the letter shaking in his hands, and then laughter. From himself, the absurdity, the brilliance, the terror. He, a man who could buy silence, had been undone by a woman who whispered through it. And when he finally got up, something inside him felt lighter. He walked to the vault, knelt, closed his eyes, and for the first time in 3 years, whispered his son's name, not in shame, not in pain, but in peace. And the moment he opened his eyes, the cameras flickered, room lights dimmed, and someone, some presence, seemed to be standing at the end of the hall, watching, not threatening, just waiting, just like his son, just like her, and then gone. No trace, just silence. A silence he could finally live with. If you reach this part of the story, it means your heart is still open. Subscribe now if you want to hear more stories that the world wouldn't believe, even if they were filmed. Because the next one might be even more absurd than this. And if this story touched you even just a little, share it, like it. Not just to help this channel, but to help this world remember that sometimes what seems small, like a maid, a whisper, or a prayer, is what breaks through the hardest walls. Because not everything we see is all that exists.